sure that you've got your blades are perpendicular to the saw. You always should be checking that. I tell the guys in the classes, especially when you're coming in here and you're using a saw that you don't know who was on it before. Check your saw blades and check your blades when you're using the dado blade. Of course, eyepieces, a mask, especially if you're doing any of the MDF or particle boards, make sure you wear a mask. And the last thing that I have here to show you in terms of the tools is the throw plate. Now, the regular throw plate on a table saw will take usually about a quarter of an inch, which is 2 of the main blades. But once you get over top of that, you're going to need something like this. You can make your own. I purchased this online. It's a Sears. I couldn't buy it from Sears. There's no wonder they're out of business. They didn't sell their own products. So very, very good because it allows you to take your dado blade out to its full width. And it's safe, it's solid. You can use a wood one, make one, that's fine too. You can make them at different degrees because you will find that most of the wood, most of the time you're going to be cutting the same width and the same depth. It's just the way it works. And in a lot of cases, like when I do when I make my box joint jig, I'll make one for each of the sizes that I want. I'll have 4 or 5 of them so that I don't have to fill around or make adjustments. So you'll need to have something like this because the dado blade is going to exceed the throw plate that's already on it. Couple things about cleaning, and I talk about this whenever you get your blades. I use this blade coat. It's Bostik. It's I don't use it a lot. I do use WD-40 occasionally, but I do use this. When you, and these blades are dirty right now, I left them dirty purposely. Make sure you clean them all off. You'll clean the blades, you'll clean the shims, all of the materials, but also the arbor and the nut, and if in fact you're using the washer, make sure they're all cleaned off. You may want to put a little bit of spray on the shims or the spacers. The reason is, on your arbor, and the arbor is that arm that comes out that is threaded, that you put your blade on, and then the nut goes on top. Well, usually there's a washer and then a nut. You want to make sure that the shims, because they're very thin, adhere to, actually kind of stick to the blade so they don't drop down into the threads. They're that small that they get into a thread, and the possibility is it can throw off your blade. It can jam, it wouldn't damage your blade, but it'll throw off your cut if it drops down in between the threading. So I just put a little bit of WD-40 or a little bit of this substance on, and it just sort of helps it stick to the blade that the shimmer is going to go up against. But you want your blades perfectly clean, because if you're cutting MDF or anything like that, it can start to build up on your blades, and especially inside. And if that happens, even 1/1000th of an inch is going to throw your cut off. So make sure you keep them clean. The other thing I always do with these blades, I keep a board on the table, and when I'm putting them on or taking them off, the blades go on the board. They never go on my tabletop. I never put them on my table, because you'll chip. As sure as I'm standing here, you'll chip a carbide tip. So make sure it's clean. Shoe spacers, nuts, arbor. About the arbor, and sometimes I always forget to mention about that. And you'll see different guys. I never put enough blades on that I can't put the washer and the nut on it. And when that nut goes on, you have to see thread behind it. If you can't see thread, you could be in very serious trouble, and those blades could come off. The thread has to be behind. Do you understand what I'm saying? It has to be turned on so that at the end you see thread. Now, most of the YouTube shows I've watched, where they want to extend the blade out, they don't put the washer on. They'll just put the nut, and they feel quite confident. And I think it probably is. I just don't do it. I've never had a need to do it because I can always make an adjustment. And I'll give you an example. If I was making this cut, if I was doing a rabbet cut, but I wanted it that wide. Of course, my blade's not going to be that wide. But what I would do is I'd make my first cut out here. I'd get this cut along here dead on. After that, I just move along and take it off. Do you understand that? There's no need to take a great big cut if you don't have to. And I'm always concerned about having too much on that arbor and it makes it a little difficult on your blade. You either have to lower your blade and bring it up bit by bit if you're taking a wide cut, or you take a lesser cut and you can do what I just said. You move your workpiece to match the limits, which is easier because now you don't have to set the height of your saw blade every time. Yeah.
The widest gate,
This one here, now it depends on your arbor, because they can go quite wide. This one here goes, two of the blades, now I'm going to start bringing these out, two of the blades equal 1/4 of an inch, and then it shows you on a graph by adding the different blades what it will go out to, and this goes right out to 7/8. So it's almost an inch, very close to an inch, which is a big cut. Like, I've never had to do it, and even I think even when I was doing the 3/4 inch rabbets, I think I still kept it in around a 1/2 inch, and then just move my sheet of wood to take off the remainder. It was much easier that way. Doesn't it? These saws wouldn't take this, I don't think.
No, that's what I'm saying. So you have to do it in increments.
Right. By the way, this cost me. I bought it online on Amazon when the Canadian dollar was good, and I think I got it for like $96 or $98. Most of the places it's about $129 to $149. This is an 8-inch. They do have a 6-inch, and quite frankly, I think if the price was almost the same, that's why I bought the 8-inch. But you don't need an 8-inch. Like there's nothing I would ever cut that deep. I can't envision anything. So if you got a deal on a 6-inch dado blade, grab it. So they're good. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this apart, and what I want to do is just pass this along, and this is the chart that comes with it. That's basically all the instructions you get.
Wayne?
Yeah?
On that 8-inch dado stack do you have a 10-inch table saw that you use that on?
A what?
Do you have a 10-inch table saw that you use that on? Or an 8-inch table saw?
10-inch.
10-inch?
Yeah,
You
it'll
can
fit.
use a smaller.
It goes on the 10-inch. It doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, a lot of people used to use these on the radio arm saws
Yeah.
for panel work. They were really good for that. There's a lot of other things you can do with them. I don't, but you can get into cutting curves in wood all the way down. It's an amazing tool once you get to know how to use it. I've laid out this wood because I always have the fear of.
If you wanted to cut around 15 around, could you not trim the board on it along the fence so that you have blade up higher?
Yeah, it would be like doing this except lengthways. Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just it depends on the size of board, because once you start getting into anything that's tall, it becomes a lot more awkward to run it through a saw. That's unless you build a jig for that particular type of thing, it becomes very difficult to run tall things through. That's why it's just as easy to lay it flat and do it on a flat surface. You know. These are the two main blades. That one looks like it's got a little burn on it. These are the two main blades, and there is a specific way that they go on. There's arrows, so you have to be a little neglectful if you didn't catch on. You have to start with these two blades. You don't use one blade because you might as well use a table saw blade, right? This is 1/8. 1/8. That's the cutting